Hello and welcome to Contact Sport. I'm Paul Kennedy. Today I'm joined in the studio by a retiring Olympic champion. James Tomkins turned 45 this week and has decided that he will not row to London. It brings to an end one of international sport's greatest careers.
Our flag bearer is James Tomkins.
Super drew again as they cross the line. Gold for Australia. Fantastic row.
The Aussies, I think, for another goal. If they can hang on for another 100 minutes. Time to take it off. You're brilliant. Half a minute length in front of the United States and also Slovenia. You're brilliant with 5 strokes to go. And within reach of the goal medal. A second in Barcelona. You rippers. The Australians have won. A magnificent effort from the Australians.
And James Tomkins joins me now. I'm sorry to play those highlights. You probably want to come out of retirement now.
Well, it's nice to see them. It's. I think when you're current and you always tend to be looking forward to the next event or the next thing. But when you sort of get towards the end of your career, and that's almost a signal, is when you start reflecting on what's happened in the past.
And you haven't done that much through your career?
No, not really. I think whilst you're in your career, in your sporting career, yeah, it is very much what's next. What's the next thing? Is it to make the team? Is it to get into the World Championships or the Olympic Games or whatever that is? But when you hang it up, it's time to reminisce.
Yeah. Well, you've got plenty of time to do that. Now, I checked the Rowing Australia website. It's got a profile on you. It says that your professional goal was to retire from rowing. So you've officially done everything that you need to do now.
I can give up on life now. So.
How does it feel now that you've made the decision and made the public announcement?
Well, to be honest, it actually feels good. It's and I guess I've always had, since China, I always thought that would probably be my last. But there was always this nagging little bit that possibly I could go on to London, and physically maybe I could have. That might be my ego saying that as well. But so I was always fairly sure that I was going to not go on.
Yep.
But it is nice to actually put a line in the sand. And it was my birthday yesterday, and it's 2 years since China to the day, and 2 years out from London. So it's a good time to do it.
Now, when you're weighing up whether to go to London or not, do you think you could have won a medal? And if you started training now, do you think you could win a medal, or would you have been going for the record to be the only Australian to do 7? Yeah,
well, that's the thing. I think, I don't think I would have not put myself in the best place to get a medal because there's too many compromises. I want to spend time with my family. I'm enjoying work and all that sort of stuff. And I know that, to go to an Olympic Games and try and win a medal, you need absolute singularity in your focus. Yep. And I don't think I would have been able to do that. So therefore it goes back to, you go there just to get a record. And I think that's the wrong motivation entirely. I mean, that's letting down your teammates. I'm going to be in a crew, and if I'm going there, they're all going there to try and win the thing. I'm going there just to make up the numbers and get the tracksuit. Then I'm letting them down and letting myself down.
OK, well, let's reflect now. Let's go back to the start of your career. And there was a chance that you could have pursued a football career. You actually was drafted to Melbourne. So what was the decision early on with your body type and where your best success lay?
Yeah, well, I grew up predominantly in Melbourne and went to school, so I'd row in summer and play footy in winter, and just because of my height and could catch a ball. There was a bit of interest from Hawthorn early on while I was at school, and then I went rowing. But then after the Seoul Olympics, I was always going to take, and I've always taken a bit of time off after each of the Olympic Games, whether go play footy or something or other, just with my mates at Old Brighton or Old Carey or whatever it was. And so that was always the idea after Seoul, and Melbourne got wind of that, so I went down and did a pre-season with them and played OK in the practice matches and ended up being drafted. So that all happened very quickly. And I always said to the club, I said, listen, unless, I'm pretty sure I'm going to go back to rowing after a year, unless I'm take Jim Steins' position and on X amount a year and all that sort of stuff.
He played a lot of consecutive games.
He did make it.
Jim Steins. Now, we'll move to the awesome foursome. I want to your coach back then was Noel Donaldson, and he had a couple of words to say about you this week. So we'll go to that now.
I think probably more would have predicted than not that he may have struggled to sort of get up for this campaign. But it does put an end to something, and I think that's a really good thing. I think a lot of our older athletes find it difficult to retire, and therefore to give them the accolades that they richly deserve is difficult. So I think it's a great thing that it's being announced, and he'll be recognised for all the great things that he's done. Certainly, one of the greatest we've ever had, not only in Australia but in the world, and duly recognised recently with the Tommy Keller medal. So he's going out on a good note. Said we do go right back. We have some funny stories to tell about schoolboy days and what we were trying to achieve there, and then getting him into club and national level. So there's a lot of fun stories there. But he's just such a natural athlete. He's gifted. He's relaxed. He takes a lot of things in his stride. He enjoys it all the time. So there's a lot of things there that the young kids today can really learn from one of our greats. And hopefully, he'll be around to pass on the messages and that sort of stuff. So he duly deserved accolades for a wonderful career.
How fondly do you look back on your days with the awesome foursome?
Oh, it was a great time. It was a fantastic time, and we'd come out of the 8 from the Seoul Olympic experience and decided that we want to train in Melbourne, and we wanted Dono as our coach, and so we're all training out of the one club, and it was a really exciting time. Australia hadn't done that. We'd won silvers and bronzes in the past, and never a gold medal at the Olympic Games in a crew boat.
A lot of pressure too, because you won those World Championships.
Yeah, we won in 90, 91, so there was a massive amount of pressure going in. We placed on ourselves. I mean, we expected to win, there's no doubt. But we had a great time, and Dono was right. We did take in a relaxed approach, and we made sure we did the work, clearly, but made sure we had a good time whilst doing it. Yeah. It was sort of that real balance that made it such a fun time. And the guys, incredible guys to row with, Mike Mackay, Nick Green, Andrew Cooper in that period. And Sam Patton, who was part of that group as well, that didn't race in Barcelona. But just an incredible group of guys to have a single focus and actually get through and do the job and get across the line. It was just an incredible sense of relief. Yeah. But thank goodness we got it over and done with.
somebody laid back in the boat.
It's just like, that is over, and we've got the right coloured medal, and that's that.
Now, there have been, of course, throughout your career, there would have been rowers that were as strong as you, I guess. But I'm interested in how you maintain your strength and your endurance, physical capabilities, right up until the age of your mid-40s.
I thank my parents for that, I think.
It's not all genetic, though, sure.
Well, it's not all genetic, but and I guess I was, we saw Dono there talking about my laid-back nature. It was possibly lazy as well. Yeah. So I would only do what was on the program and no more, and I would make sure, or we made sure, certainly the guys in the full would make sure we had, at least 12 months off after a major campaign. It's probably a 3-year lead into the Olympics, so you have 12 months off to refresh and get yourself keen again. But I guess I noticed that the endurance side was always there up until Beijing, but it was just that top-end power, that explosive power that I was starting to lose. As you get older, you lose muscle mass, and I'm pretty skinny anyway, so it was that power that I was starting to lose, and I think that's the area that I would have struggled if I was to go on.
Yeah, but the mental capacity to keep training, that was right up.
It was just a real personal challenge. I love the training. I love being fit and outdoors, and certainly as you're getting toward the end of your career, the motivation is almost stronger because you know how much fun it is and what an opportunity it is, and so you want to hang on to it as much as you possibly can. Yeah. So as I was getting toward the end, certainly leading into China, I was doing more work than I'd ever done, just because I loved it and wanted to relish and take the whole thing in. Really appreciate that whole experience. And
you've mentioned that you've sought counsel from people about retirement and the end of rowing. Of course, you've been rowing since 1979, so it's a big change. What frightens you about retirement?
Well, nothing really frightens me about it, but I think the thing I'll miss is, when you're an elite athlete, it's an incredibly selfish thing. Yeah. Where you've got all these support people around you that are helping you do your sport and helping you go as well as you possibly can. And so, you miss that selfishness, I guess. And I guess it's... and having that very, very high goal that you're trying to achieve. I'll try and fill that, but I think an Olympic goal is a difficult one to replace.
Well, you've inspired many people. You continue to do so. And there's a young rower at the AIS who's been likened to you. Let's hear from him now.
He has done so much for Australian rowing, and He's quite an inspiring person. I, unfortunately, myself never had a chance to row with him, but he is quite inspiring, and I think there comes a time when you have to say enough is enough, and he's got a family and a whole heap of other challenges coming up, so it's happy and sad for him, I guess. And I mean, growing up as a kid, anyone even unattached to rowing has heard stories about them and seen the canned fruit ads on TV, so they're sort of a bit of a personality in the rowing world. So yeah, they definitely are an inspiration.
Well, there you go. A slight mention of the ad campaign that